Have you heard that one?
Yeah,
Have you seen baseball?
my baseball.
Have you seen my baseball?
We're just doing some Goonies references from back in the day. We started off like that.
Hey, you guys.
Rocky Road. I think that guy was probably like, I don't know. He must have been exposed to some like chemicals or something down below.
What was his?
I don't know what
Do you
his
remember
shtick
what
was.
his
I don't know why he
origin
was
was?
all. No, he was like a pirate, wasn't he? He's like a castaway pirate dude.
I think wasn't that like the story in the kids' heads, but he was actually like some deformed.
Oh, a janitor dude. Yeah,
Like
maybe he was in Chernobyl or something.
I don't even remember. I need to watch that movie again. I used to love that movie when I was a kid. Really good.
I didn't. There's a lot of movies I remember and love as a kid, but I never remember the concept and why I watched it. I just knew I was interested in it.
Yeah.
And it had an interesting subject.
And then there's a lot of them you go back and you realize now as an adult, like,
Oh my god!
there's a
why
whole
did
bunch
I
of
watch
them.
That?
Well, there's a whole bunch of movies that I've gone back and realized that I didn't understand half the jokes.
Yeah, me
And now
too.
I do.
Yeah.
And number one. And number two, there's a whole bunch of movies that are like trying to give you like a life lesson that I didn't care about when I was a kid.
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
I was just like entertained to shit from like what was happening on the screen.
Yeah.
And then when you're older, you're just like, oh shit, that's what that means.
I get it now.
You know,
yeah.
like you can see now, like how many layers a movie like Lion King has.
I know.
It's got like
deep.
parental. It's
Deep-
got
deep
like
shit.
it's got deep shit on so many levels.
It's even got that conspiracy lure too, right?
Does it?
It's like, oh yeah, it's like
What was Lion King?
what? Oh, here we go. The one with when
You're the king of the conspiracy theories.
He like jumps on the ledge and this dust goes
dust,
out.
yes,
the dust spells
yes.
out sex and.
But this is a conspiracy theory. Well, it's actually, from what I understand, it's not actually even a conspiracy.
Because you can freeze it. It's
a real thing.
it's a
Apparently,
thing, yeah.
that animators, like Disney animators, they went out of their way to input subliminal
Yeah.
sexual things.
It's like a frame, one frame
But it's probably because they were bored and it was a joke just
Yeah.
to see if they can get away with it. I don't think they're trying to.
I lean towards
convince
more of
kids
that,
to
where it's like they've
turn to a
worked on
life
this
of-
project for 10 years or something, and they're
Yeah.
like, okay, we're gonna fuck with the viewers
Yeah.
just to see who's
100%.
paying attention.
If it's one frame, who the hell's
yeah,
going to
it's
see
just
that?
to see who's really meticulously
Yeah.
like paying attention. Yeah,
It's only because the movies did well. If the movies didn't well, no one would ever know.
yeah. Like if you meticulously pay attention, I talk like 99% bullshit. So it's like, don't call me on anything.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're starting off the Focus podcast here with Bryan Fontez.
Yep.
Number 7 Focus podcast. And we are in a familiar view for myself. So where I used to live is on the Queen's Quay, the Quay, if anybody looks at it
Quay quay.
spelt properly. On Toronto's Harbourfront. I used to live on 260 Queen's Quay, and Bryan lives in 270.
Yeah.
And not only that, he lives in the exact same unit number,
Just a different building.
2002. Like,
Yeah.
mind fucking blown. So I haven't been here since mid-June, and now I'm looking at like the same view that I gave up.
Yeah.
I left on a journey. No, I gave it all up. I gave up the downtown life. I gave up the bourgeois living, the nice.
Well, you did some nice living in Europe.
Yeah.
You went to Italy. You went where else?
Not
did you
this
go?
summer. I didn't go this summer.
Oh, okay. That was last summer. Yeah.
I've been like.
But you went on tour though.
Yeah, like 6 summers out of the last 7 summers.
Mm-hmm.
But this summer I went to Dominican for a month, just to lay low.
Yeah.
And then I went on the East Coast
Mhm.
of Canada. I went all around
It's beautiful.
the Maritimes, and yeah, that's what we're gonna kind of talk about is like touring as a Canadian artist. And you did it as a band, and ever as a solo artist?
No, never as a solo artist, but with 2 different bands. One band I did East and West, and the other band just kind of done a little bit of North, like through Quebec, and a little bit of East. But yeah, with Last Bullet, the rock band that I was in for almost 10 years, we went West Coast. We went to Whistler and back.
Wow.
And that was interesting.
How long a drive is that out to there?
I couldn't even tell you because like we did it on a tour with a bunch of stops.
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell you how much it is. I could tell you that I'm sorry to the rest of Canada, but there's not much past Winnipeg. Like
Catch up on your sleep.
once you get outside of Ontario, it's just like 12-hour drives between bumfuck nowhere.
But even to get to that point in your sentence, outside of Ontario,
Yeah.
that's a fucking journey in its own.
It is.
To get outside of Ontario.
People don't realize that Ontario is bigger than, I'd say, like
half of Europe.
75% of the countries in the world.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like if I had to just make a random statistic, it's bigger than like the vast majority of the countries on the planet Earth. For sure it is.
Yeah, look on Google, listeners, and all you American folks, look up above you.
Yeah.
We're big.
Yeah. And it's not Ontario, California.
No.
No, Ontario, the province is huge, man. So, like, I had never gone east or west of Ontario. I had only gone north, so, like, Montreal, Quebec.
Oh, so you were a newbie and you went on a huge trip like that.
I had never gone
Holy
west
fuck.
of Ontario. But you know what? A lot of Ontarians and, like, Quebecers have never gone west of Ontario. So...
I hadn't except for work.
Gotcha.
So, like, I bet you would talk to I would throw this Census Canada statistic out there. I'd say at least 50% of Ontarians have never been outside of Ontario.
Yeah.
And you've
It's
been
possible.
a lot of...
I would believe that.
And they've probably been a lot of fucking places in their life. But you just... Ontario goes on and on and on and on, and you've never been out. Like, you can been to hundreds of cities.
Yeah, I would argue it's probably more metropolitan cities and people who live in cities that travel more, just because the more metropolitan cities like Toronto are world cities. And, and they're more multicultural. There's more people from all over the world, so therefore there's more influence for people to want to be interested in leaving and going to different places and stuff like that. So I would typically say that the most of the Canadians that travel a lot are the ones that live in big cities. But yeah, we went to Whistler, and there was like, honestly, like, Canada is beautiful.
Whistler summer or Whistler winter?
Whistler fall.
Okay.
So like...
So was
October,
it slower?
November.
Was it slower season?
It was slower season. There wasn't a lot going on there, which sucked because it would have been nice to have people around for our show.
Banging season.
Because that was one of the shows where we played for the bartender.
Yeah, I've had those, man.
Yeah.
On this East Coast trip I had in Moncton. It was
Yeah.
just me and the bar guy.
That's hilarious. But it's funny because like when we have shows like that, out of spite, I try to kind of use that as fuel.
Me too.
And I know you didn't have guys to turn to, which I can't even imagine what that would be like.
Yeah.
So fucking props to you for that. But
have a couple beers and just and practice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Practice on a stage.
Just jam rehearsal with yourself.
Jam on the stage.
Sure. That's how I looked at it with the guys, but at least I could turn to them and like just be like, I looked at them in the eyes and it'd be like, we're at the ACC. It's sold out.
Yeah.
And this woman just bought VIP tickets. She's front row. We're going to give her the fucking show of her lives. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And we just lost our minds. We just got drunk and lost our minds.
That's great, man.
Someone
That's
gave
good.
her the best show ever. So.
And you fine-tune shit.
Yeah, you look at it as like a glorified rehearsal, try different things, all that kind of stuff. But you know what? Every single person counts who sees your show.
Absolutely.
So you don't want to half-ass it or dial it in. Because that one bartender, you know what? You don't know what else she does. Or like you don't, this is the thing. This applies to so many different things in life, but you really don't want to judge a book by its cover because you don't know the power of one human being and what they can do and what they can change, what they know, who they know, where they work, where they've been, where they're going to be. So just say you impress that bartender and she's got a fucking Instagram following because she's I don't know, some like a health guru, health life and style, or a Instagram model or something. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or she's just got a big following, or like she's a YouTuber. She's got 1 million people, and she's just like, this guy is like killing it by himself. Like you know. You don't know what can happen.
Yeah,
exactly. So you impress one person who impresses another person, it can have a domino effect.
I think
that's why you should always try to play.
I think a gig is a gig.
A gig is a gig. That's
a gig
true.
is a gig. Like whether if there's one person or 100 people or 1,000 people, it's you showed up, you brought all your shit, you're set up, you're ready to play. It's
once we're set up, it's done.
It.
Once I show up, I'm there to fucking kick ass and take names.
That's a hard, that's a hard mental game to get over because it's like that can happen over and over, and it's like you're like, oh fuck.
It is tough. Yeah,
It's
it
tough.
does wear on you, but at the end of the day, like.
So
not
sorry,
everyone's.
we don't want to dwell on it, but how many cities do you guys have that?
That was a it was a 26 show tour.
Bitchin'. So
And so a few of those got canceled because some crazy shit happened in the middle of the tour that I'll get to in 1 second. But it ended up being 19 shows in 30 days.
that's pretty slick.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. About 19, give or take a couple, I think. Or
So
one or
you
two.
went Whistler.
So we
Vancouver.
basically went to I wish I could pull up the show flyer, but we basically went from Quebec, like Montreal, Ottawa,
Yeah.
and then like Toronto, and then like North Bay and Thunder Bay, like St. Catharines, and then we went to Winnipeg, and then we hit Edmonton, and then we skipped Saskatchewan for some strange reason.
Yeah.
And then we played a whole bunch of places, like small places like Brandon, Manitoba.
Brandon's really good, actually.
Yeah, and Kapuskasing.
Yeah, I know Cap.
And Wainwright, Alberta, we played.
Yeah.
And we played on a military base. Oh, my God. Imagine having, like, a hard rock, like, filthy, nasty, kind of, like, slightly glam. I don't want to say glam, but slightly rock and roll band, like a Stone Temple Pilots or something like that. That's what my band was. Imagine having a band like that play on a military base
These
in
guys
front
are
of
starving
a
for
bunch
that,
of
probably.
No, it
No,
wasn't
or
good.
they're in a time warp.
No,
they're
the
time
Leafs
warp.
or Sens were on, and they couldn't fucking care less about us.
Fuck, I've been in those venues.
They're a guy. I can't remember what his name was. They're like, not like commander or whatever.
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
the guy was just like in charge of their
PR guy or whatever.
Well, the guy was in charge of their like quarters or whatever. It is, right?
Yeah.
He's in charge of, I guess, hiring entertainment.
The mess guy or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
like the
called.
mess hall.
Yeah, mess
guy.
hall guy. Yeah.
So the guy was in charge with booking their entertainment and
Yeah,
making
yeah.
sure that they're entertained and this and that. And I think he gets like new bands who don't charge much to come in because they're cheap.
Yeah.
And there was a whole it was just all guys, and
Yeah.
they were all
So,
watching the hockey game.
Right away, it's sausage
They didn't
party.
care at all. He was super excited because he was a big rock and roll fan.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he sold this show to us, the idea of playing there, and then we played.
And sold them probably to it. Yeah.
Well, I don't think he sold them to it because, I think, I don't know. He just books them, and then if they watch, they watch. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah.
You know, we had a lot of shows that we killed it, and I got to be honest with you, we put on a crazy show. We put on a really exciting, fun show, and if you have a pulse, you'll find something to enjoy about it. But they were not interested.
Nobody gave a fuck.
No one gave a fuck. And here I am at the front. Here I am. There's like 70 guys there, and they're way in the corner of the room, huddled around watching the Leafs.
Yeah.
And here we are, like, fucking gyrating with our leopard print pants on and like on our black leather, and it was not. Yeah, it was funny. It was a story.
Well,
there was many of
that's
those on
in
tour.
Canada, you don't fucking know. That's the thing. It's like,
No,
especially
Canada's-
if you never played in the city, you don't know what the scene's like. You don't. It could be anything. Like especially with me with rap, it's like, okay, you might have a few people, artists that like that genre and stuff like that. Or you could go to a place and they've never heard of anything like that whatsoever.
Yeah, it's true.
So it could be great, or it could be totally like they're turning the other way.
Yeah.
Like even like Montreal is a pretty progressive city for all types of music. They're open-minded.
Very much so.
But
very artistic.
Barfly played.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the mercy of the hockey game. Same thing. The Habs game. We were supposed to play at a certain time, and she's just like gives misinformation. I'm not saying names.
Yeah.
But she's just like, oh, you're going to wait till the game's over.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I say to my one bandmate there, I said,
What if it
if
goes
I
into
said if the
overtime?
it's an overtime. I said if the Habs lose, this place clears out in 3 seconds.
Wow.
The Habs win, we got a crowd.
We got a great party.
The fucking Rangers beat the Habs, and it was just like 2 people left.
Oh fuck!
And they liked it, but it was just like, you're at the mercy of that.
This is a hockey country, man.
Yeah,
you
even
can't
big,
avoid it.
even big bands
better or
are
worse,
fucked, man.
Yeah.
So, like, all that, you're going all these cities.
Mm-hmm.
There's expenses.
Yeah.
Especially with the band.
Definitely.
You got lots of expenses. Did you guys get any help? Did you get any, like, family and friends in cities that you knew? Or was it just straight up hotels or
it was
Airbnbs or, like, what was the deal for... Because accommodations are probably the most expensive thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like gas, you can break it down
you're
to
right.
a few people. But accommodations, especially a hotel, you're paying for multiple people.
Yeah. No, you're right.
A band, that's a lot of money.
I agree with you 100%. You're 100% right.
Or you sleep in the van, or you, whatever.
We found out that was illegal.
Really?
It's not legal. You're not allowed to
Is
park
it
somewhere
anybody
and
or
sleep
more
there.
than one patron? Or
As far as I know, it's like, I mean, we still did it once in a while if we had to.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the exact laws are, but to my understanding, it's illegal to like have a van full of people sleep there overnight.
Yeah, there's designated camping areas
Yeah.
and shit like that, pull over and stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
just randomly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Use it as a spot to sleep. I think that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's legal, but I don't know.
I got another story about that.
You can
but
go check that out. But yeah, the most to be honest with you, we probably spent. I don't want to scare you, but I want to be.
This is real. We're talking.
I want to
real
be
shit.
the real shit. I want you to be. I want to be candid, and I want you
musicians to know.
I want musicians to know, and I want people who are not musicians who support musicians to know.
How much it cost?
The tour costed us $20,000.
Yeah, I can see that.
So
band.
Just the gas, the gasoline to drive to all of these cities and back was $5,000.
Whoa!
Just the gasoline.
Because you have a guzzling vehicle as well. With gear
yeah, we had an Astro van, a GMC Astro van.
Guzzle.
Yeah, and an 8x4 trailer on the back.
And you got gear, all the gear.
All the gear was in there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, the gas was a lot. The hotels were a lot. They were probably like $10,000, and then the food was probably another $5,000 or so. There were I would say maybe 2 or 3 instances where we either someone in the band knew someone that happened to live in one of the towns that we hit, and they were super kind enough to let us stay and even fed us and stuff like that.
It's always nice.
Some amazing people, and then there was the odd time that we didn't have a place, and we ended up meeting people that night who offered their place.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and that once we did that once, we kind of realized that it wasn't that hard because we're a bunch of really nice guys.
Yeah.
And as long as we, like, even if we offered them a little bit of money, it would be worth it. You know what I mean? And a lot of the time they wouldn't accept the money and stuff like that. But we ended up meeting a lot of people who loved us so much, and they didn't know who we were, but they're like, your music was amazing. They're like, oh, we really appreciate it. And they would be kind enough to offer. We tried not to impose, but it did happen, and it was awesome. There was one night in particular, and this is a funny story, and it was fucking gross. We were in Winnipeg.
I want to hear it.
We were in Winnipeg, and we were at a venue called I think it was either the Pyramid or the Zoo. And those are both venues in Winnipeg, but I think it was the Pyramid. I can't remember. It was the one that was a venue on the bottom level, and then it was a hotel up top. So they included accommodations in our deal, right? Which was the case for a lot of our...
That's a big deal.
Well, that was the case for a lot of our gigs. A lot of our gigs, there was accommodations somewhere around nearby.
Oh, great.
Like the Wainwright, Alberta military thing, they had sleeping quarters for us.
Oh, fuck, it's almost worth the trip.
Exactly. So, like, a lot of the time, like, even if the show didn't look that great, the fact that they had accommodations included and a little bit of pay was huge. Enough to just, fucking go.
Yeah.
So, but this place in particular, they said there was accommodation, so we went up to check in. And this was the fucking most disgusting hotel I have ever seen in my existence. I swear to God, I don't think a human being had been in that hotel room for 4 years.
Oh.
So we walked in. It just was musky as hell.
Yeah.
The window, it was all concrete, and like covered in like a pale off-white yellow cigarette tinted walls that were covered in a fine layer of dust and cigarettes, I guess, or
Fresh
and weed,
dust.
and
Yeah.
and the window feels like it was like carved out of a cave. It was like there was no sunlight. It was musky and gross. The beds were there was a fine layer of dust on the bed covers, and then the most disgusting thing ever was there was a whole like a thick layer of dust, like a couple centimeters, on the night table beside the bed. On top of the night table beside the bed, this is just gonna tell you how disgusting it was. There was a can of Manwich that had expired 3 years previous.
Like mayonnaise or like
Manwich.
or like that spam shit.
No, so like Sloppy Joe.
Yes.
Stuff,
Yes.
you know, like what you used to make Sloppy Joes, but in a can.
Ooh.
So like a can with like it was closed,
Yeah.
but a can of ground beef and beans, basically.
Yummy.
Sloppy Joe innards.
Good heroin dinner.
So I went to. I'm like, this is disgusting, guys. Look at this. And then I went to take. I went to look at the can, and I went to take it off the night table, and it wouldn't come off. It was stuck to the night table. So when I pulled at it a little bit harder, I swear to God, it was like. Yeah. It was gross, and it expired. I swear, like a year or 2 years previous, and we looked at each other and we're like, we are not fucking sleeping here tonight. So we played the show. There was a decent amount of people there. They enjoyed it, and then there were two girls that loved the show, thought we were cute, and we convinced them. We didn't impose, but we convinced them to let us like literally just sleep on their wooden floor. Like they said they had an apartment, and they said, hey, well, you guys can come back to our place if you want to have some drinks, stuff like that. And then we basically said, please let us just fucking die on your floor. We don't need pillows, we don't need blankets, just let us sleep on this extremely clean,
Instantly
not
pass out.
expired floor.
Yeah.
So we crashed at their place. They were nice enough to let us do that. Then on to the next city.
That, it makes good stories,
Yep.
man. And I've never had to go that gross.
Yeah.
But there was one place I just played in Moncton. It was a Plan B, and the people have said that there's a
That already
combina-
sounds
Yeah.
pretty trashy.
Yeah, it's like, what happened to Plan A? I don't know. It's
Well, not just that, but Plan B is
Didn't work out.
Isn't Plan B like a emergency contraceptive?
Oh yeah, it's
Right?
just like
It sounds like Trailer Park
Plan
Trash
A
would go
was
there.
throw her down the stairs, but
Yeah.
that looks too risky.
Plan B, the place you go to make mistakes and regret your life.
You know what? Nobody noticed.
Yeah, but yeah,
no,
sorry.
it's
continue.
people have told me that they had accommodations, but it's like that kind of detail, right?
Yeah.
And it was under construction when I was there, and I was like, okay, good thing. And then because the venue's nice and the people are really nice, but it looks like one of those places that, oh yeah, it's free.
Yeah.
But be careful with FREE
Yeah.
implies, Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's free for a reason.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
now it's like Airbnbs are kind of the way to go, and it's almost cheaper.
Yeah, we price
know what I
lined
mean?
everything. Like,
Yeah.
we used price lines, and we got
Yeah.
some decent hotels for a good price. Like
yeah,
we got
yeah.
we got a couple like good hotels,
Well,
like
you
a
don't know what
Westin
you're
and stuff
gonna
like
get
that.
with Airbnbs too.
No, you don't.
You don't know.
I mean, you can see the reviews. And,
Yeah.
And typically, I think it has to be in pretty good good shape.
Yeah,
working
you
order.
only miss out a few times.
Yeah.
Like
Like I said, we got some good deals on price lines. We got some like $120 hotels for like $60, stuff like that. So, but and not all the free accommodations were bad, but a few
Yeah.
of them were horrible. And but we just you deal with it, man. You just deal with it, and you're gonna have a lack of sleep and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just, and a lot of the hotels there was like one bed and stuff like that. But honestly, a lot of the guys, they were like a little bit prima donna, and they
Yeah.
really didn't want to deal with bad sleeping conditions.
Yeah.
So a lot of them like didn't want to sleep in the van and
Yeah.
didn't want to rough it, so they looked at the tour as like their vacation, and they would
that's
rather
a good way of looking
well,
at it.
if you have money.
Yeah.
They did, and they ended up wanting to like stay in hotels even if it was for like $180.
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
that fucked us a little bit. Because like if one person wants to do it really bad and they're gonna do it no matter what, you don't want to be the asshole. It's just like, well, I don't want to, and now you're not pitching in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, the hotels cost a lot, the gas costs a lot, and touring costs a lot more than people think. And then if you're gonna ask what we made, it realistically wasn't even enough to cover the gas. We didn't make
So like 10%, 20%.
like if we spent 20,000, we probably made from merchandise and guarantees. We probably made $3,000 or $4,000. It was it's a joke.
That's
it's
normal,
pathetic,
though.
but
That's normal.
we would probably do better now because
Yeah.
if we were still together, because our merch is better and we're better at selling it, and we're a little bit bigger than we were before. But at the time, we had only been together for like 2-3 years. We had decent merch, but it like wasn't the greatest, and like it was just like one shirt and a CD. So yeah, my advice to people would be, if you're in a touring band or you know someone who's in a band that wants to tour, have nice merch. Don't be afraid to point it out to people. There's a difference between selling and suggesting, you know what I mean, or just like letting people know. It'll go a long way and it'll help us out. And I would advise anybody to do it. And if it feels a little bit cheap, fucking deal with it, or it's gonna hurt your pocket.
Bills.
You know what I mean? So
look at the bills, and that you gotta come out. You gotta break a dent to kind of get even.
Yeah, I definitely, looking back at how we did it, like looking back at the amount we spent by the time we got back, I would have done it completely different. If we go back, we're gonna do it different again. Like if I ever go back.
But you guys, like, had you guys played outside and toured before? Like, was that your big first tour?
That was our first big tour, and it was a big one. It was a national tour with like 20 shows.
You don't know what you're really getting into when you do all that, idea. Right? So you learn.
We were just doing it to do it.
Yeah, exactly. You learn.
And part of the big story that really kind of fucked it up for us was it was a tour that we jumped on. It was someone else's tour.
Oh, so you were an opener, or you guys are?
We were an opener for a band called Riding Shotgun at the time that we became really good friends with and we befriended. And long story short, 3 shows into the tour, their lead guitarist quit the band.
Oh, shit.
Yes. So the choice was, do we turn around and go back? Or because we already have all this time off work that we've taken, we saved up. We have all the merch, we practiced, we made the sacrifices, and we're ready to go on. Do we continue without them?
So they bailed?
So basically, because their lead guitarist bailed and he was a big part of their sound, we all kind of talked about it.
Yeah.
And we told them, we're going to keep going no matter what and play all the shows, and we're going to kind of take over the tour and be the headliners. Because we already took the time off work and we want to do this anyway and see the country and do our thing and grow the band. And they said they needed like a day or 2 to figure out what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
So they followed us. They came with us.
Okay.
And just didn't play, just watched us play for a show or 2.
Yeah.
And we liked them, so it was fun to have them around anyway.
Yeah.
And then they ended up deciding... the bass player found they went to Long McQuaid and he split his signal. So he got a guitar amp and a bass amp. And he basically would have 2 pedals. Have you ever heard the band Royal Blood?
I think so.
So there's a new band called Royal Blood. They're from England, and they sound killer. And it's basically just a drummer and a bassist.
Wow.
And the bassist sings as well, obviously. And he splits his signal so that he plays high guitar-sounding leads through 2 Fender amps, and he plays his lower super-duper heavy shit through what's one of those really big amps? I think it was an Ampeg. But like he basically has 3 different options. He can play really low bass stuff. He can play really high guitar-y stuff in between that, or he can put them together and just sound like a fucking monster, and it just sounds like a full band. I'll play some of it for you
that's
afterwards.
Cool. So he doesn't have to switch back.
No, so he basically ended up doing that. So he just basically like kind of played all the songs the same way he would, but on a fatter sounding bass that sounds like multiple guitars with no solos.
That's great.
Yeah, so and they continued, and we ended up being the headliners on the rest of the tour.
Yeah.
They completed the rest of the tour. We became like really
Good for
good
them.
friends. We had some good laughs. Love those guys, and yeah, that's what ended up happening.
Well, I was just gonna say because you have no idea what comes on you on a tour, and you're out of your comfort zone, away from your city, and you can't get your shit.
Yeah.
If something fucks up.
No,
Like
we were lucky our van didn't break.
yeah,
down or
that
anything.
I think a lot of what the touring is about is like when shit fucks up and goes sour.
Yeah,
Like, what do you do? How do you resolve it to still do the show, to
Yeah.
still get a show off, right?
yep.
And yeah, I fucked up a lot.
Did you?
Oh yeah, this is these buddies of mine in Edmonton. They're called Holiday Monday.
Yeah.
They're younger guys and buddies of mine. So I've gone out there twice, and last time I went it was in April, and got a show, and we're at their place, and they like to rehearse a lot. So they're rehearsing just a few hours before the gig, and I'm like, I like to be ready hours before my gig.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything. Like I don't have much gear, but I have a lot for a solo just rapper, you know?
Really, eh?
So I have all my camera gear and all the other shit.
Oh, okay.
I like
so
to have
you'd like take video and audio
yeah.
and stuff.
I like to
okay,
have it
okay.
all ready before I go.
That's what you mean. You don't necessarily mean like stage.
Yeah,
stuff.
no.
Yeah.
So I was like kind of egging them on to get ready and get the gear. You know, we got to get to the venue.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like being proactive and kind of like helping them load the drums.
Yeah.
And he was saying something to me about the key in the back.
Huh.
Like it's like a Ford hatchback. So I wasn't listening, and I fucking just loaded it up, and then we got the keys. And then the key went into the back loading thing, and it wouldn't come out. So it's just like, okay, fuck. So we fucked with it for like an hour, and now the drums are locked into the back of the pickup truck.
So they couldn't get any.
So
of
couldn't
the
get
gear
it.
out.
No, so that's out of the question, and they're younger than me, and they just wanted to give up, and they're like, "Fuck the gig," and I was like, "Fuck this, man! Like, we're doing this." I'm like,
But couldn't they have got the gear out from the front?
"No, it's like a tunnel cover, and it's locked in."
Oh.
And it locked the back hatch.
And
know
you
what I
can't
mean?
take the tunnel cover off
No,
unless
it's
you
all
open
like
the hatch?
it's all like without ruining it or taking it off. You
oh,
know.
shit. I probably would have ripped
Yeah.
the tunnel cover.
That's what I said.
I probably would have cut a hole in it.
I said rip it off and I'll pay you back, right? Because
Yeah.
I fucked up, right?
Because there's the latch on the other side of the thing, right? You could probably just put a
It's
small
that
hole.
no, it's like a default in
Oh,
one
okay,
of these
okay.
Ford trucks
Jesus.
with many defaults in
Jesus.
Fords. Anyway, so it's like they wanted to give up, and I was like, "Fuck this!" I'm like, "Call the other band, see if they have drums," and you know, 'cause
Yeah, that's an easy
they were
fix.
gonna take their drums, and there's like many options, you know,
Yeah.
like Long and McQuaid. And,
Sometimes
and
the
rip the fucking
venue has
back
a house kit.
yeah, so we figured it out, and but I was just like, sorry I fucked up, but this happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like this is fucking all the time this happens, right? So you
Mhm.
just got to find a way, and that's the road life is about too, right? Because it's
Yeah, you really can't get too down on shit that happens.
expect like the worst. Expect shit.
Yeah. Well,
know?
you know what? I when you go on tour, I think typically, unless you just don't understand how life works, you gotta be. You have to go on tour with a mentality that shit's going to happen. Like it's one thing if I'm here and like I fucking stub my toe and then like I trip over a mirror and it smashes on the floor and then like I get shards of glass in my foot. It's one thing here when I'm in the comfort of my own home or I'm in my own city and stuff like that. But when I leave, like all bets are off. You have to kind of realize that shit's gonna have to hit the fan, and if you let it eat you up, you're not going to enjoy the moment, or you're not going to be at your best and stuff like that. So I was 100%. I'm so glad it didn't happen, but I was 100% prepared to A, not make any money, B, spend money, C, probably not eat very well, D, I'm not going to use letters anymore. 5.
Being
no,
fuck-
and
being dead,
I
yeah.
was prepared for our van to break down. Luckily that didn't happen, like I said, but everything
Yeah.
else did. And you just have to know that shit is going to hit the fan, and when it does, you have to embrace it when it goes all over your face.
Embrace the shit, folks.
Embrace
With
the
that
shit.
being said, we're gonna take a break. 34 minutes. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, no problem,
We'll
man.
get back into it after this Focus podcast. Bryan Fontez.
Show me all your fear, and then you hide it, and then you fight it. Break close from the reckless slumber. It's time to wake up from the spell that you're under. There's the growth now, there's everything to gain. It's time to nurture what the gods made. Love quick, death is getting near. I'm telling you, there's no way out of here. No way out of here. No way out of here. Silence, battle in your brain. You're wearing armor, soon go insane. Earthquake, death is getting near. I'm telling you, there's no way out of here. No way out of here. No way out of here. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. No way out of here. No way out of here. No way out of here. No way out of here.
All right, we're back. Focus podcast.
What's up?
Bryan. Yeah, so we're talking about the road life and, just a lot of distance between these cities in this country. It's fucking massive.
This is a huge country.
Just
And
big.
on top of it all, you don't realize, like we were talking about, most people who live or are from Ontario, they don't normally leave it.
No.
I did not know, aside from pictures, how fucking gorgeous Canada is.
It's nice.
I had no idea.
Get out there, folks.
It was
See
beautiful.
this country.
We went to when we hit Alberta. Like, Ontario is beautiful, especially if you go north. It gets even more beautiful than it does down here. And Manitoba was nice. Saskatchewan was just flat. Beautiful in its own way if you like the prairies. But as soon as you hit Alberta, it's just fucking mind-blowing. It's like Lord of the Rings. Like, the mountains are glistening, and the sun is hitting them, and it's shining, and it makes them sparkle like they're fucking magical.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And then there's like beautiful still blue water lakes. And it's just the most ridiculously beautiful thing. And like there's no pictures that do it justice to seeing it in front of your eyes. And we were blown away. There was a couple times where we were driving through the mountains. We literally had to pull over and say, holy shit. And that alone was worth the experience. It was
That's
really
the payoff
beautiful.
for driving these fucking distances.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
It's just like, yeah, you can stop and really see some nice shit in this country.
That and we had to get our bearings a couple times because some of those mountain roads
They're
are
tough, yeah.
Number one, they're hard to drive, especially for like 12 hours at a time, 10 hours at a time, and they were really frightening because when we were driving at night, especially, if you make one fucking mistake on certain parts of those roads, there are no rails, and they just go down for a kilometer,
Yeah.
or what seems like it. So it's yeah,
or
it's scary.
deer or fucking moose or
Yeah,
fucking...
so you gotta be on. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, how did it work? Were you guys all drivers, or were you just a couple designated people?
Honestly, we split it between two people.
That's rough, yo.
It was really rough.
That's rough.
And I think we wanted to do all drivers or more, or
Yeah.
another driver, and I think it just didn't work out insurance-wise or something like that. Like, it didn't make sense. I can't remember what the deal was, but...
I'm the type now, I don't give a fuck. Where I'm just like, whatever, we'll switch if we get pulled over.
Yeah.
But
I think we didn't want to take that chance
Yeah,
being
you're
on tour and stuff
younger
like that.
yeah,
So
and you have other people. Like, when I'm by myself, I don't give a fuck.
yeah.
Because it's just myself.
Yeah. But yeah, we split it between two drivers, and that was really fucking hard, man. It was
That's
really
tough,
hard. It was
man.
really hard for them. I
Yeah.
wasn't one of them. It was Brendan and Mike, our two guitarists.
Well, some people, like, if they drive, they're adamant about driving because they're like, I have the insurance. I'm covered under the car. It's like, I'm like, all right, okay, whatever. It's it is what it is. But it's like you said, there's fucking stretches that just like, goddamn.
Yeah, that was crazy. There was one stretch in particular, and then I'll get this out of the way, and then we'll change topics. But we drove from Calgary to I think it was Calgary to Whistler.
Whoa,
That's like a 12 or 14 hour drive.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had a show that we needed to get to in Whistler. So this is the one that I was telling you about that we played for the bartender.
the nobodies. Yeah.
So we finished our gig in Calgary. We had this long ass drive, and we didn't have time to sleep overnight.
Oh, fuck.
So we played our show in Calgary, and we drove
Overnight.
pretty much straight to Whistler. Got there just in time to check in and go set up our stuff for the next gig.
Ouch.
Okay. So we set up, we got there at like 6, got to our hotel, put our stuff in right away, quickly went to the venue to set up all of our gear. We were supplying the PA as well for this.
Holy
by the way.
shit.
So we had to do our own sound and set it up. Set it all up, our own PA, find out from the promoter that they hadn't heard from the guy who bailed in the other band for 6 weeks, and that they thought we weren't coming. And that they couldn't pay us.
I would lose my fucking shit.
So
man.
we that was the show I told you we played for nobody, just the
Yeah,
bartender,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
was off season, so no one was at the hotel.
Oh fuck.
So they were able to give us the hotel for free, which was
Okay,
nice. And
that's all right.
it was a beautiful hotel.
Okay, that's all right.
With like fucking like a jacuzzi and all that kind of stuff. And he felt bad, and we killed it. So, and the bartender loved us, so he paid us $100, which was nothing.
That's all right.
So, but for all the work and the driving, like the gas there and back, 14 hours there. Okay,
Bro.
we play, we get paid $100. We get 3 hours of sleep, and then we have to drive another 14 or 15 hours to Edmonton.
Oh fuck.
So that was the low point of the tour, where we were saying, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
This is crazy. And that almost broke us.
Or we should have
We-
planned this.
Yeah, that almost broke us entirely because
Yeah.
we drove all that way for nothing.
Yeah.
Minus like experience and lessons, I guess.
Yeah.
But for $100, which doesn't even cover 4 hours or 5 hours of driving that van.
So it's $20 each, pretty much.
Yeah, and then 14 hours back to Edmonton, where we had to play another show.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that was painful. That was really painful. Yeah.
That's fucking That's a tough one to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a while you get, like you said, there's something that happens with out of like a shit gig, right?
Yeah.
So has there ever been a time where you guys that like all that doesn't go well, but like the one or two people that are there is somebody that leads you to something else, or like I've had ones where it's only been 6 people, but that one person knows another person that can get me a gig somewhere else, or
Definitely,
like,
that has happened. Getting
Yeah.
in contact with other bars, venues, or gigs in other places, that has 100% happened, and it's great when it does.
yeah,
The other thing has happened way more often is that you meet someone. So this is the story of our career and of my life. Meeting people who make promises and are super passionate and talk about how much they're going to help you, how awesome you are, how much potential you have, and how much they believe in you, and that they're going to go to the end with you, and they're going to do this, this, and this for you, and they know this, and this person, and like
going to the top.
just in general, I fucking don't even have the capacity to count how many
Countless,
people
yeah.
have done and said that, or even people who said, "Let me manage you, let me do this, let me do that." And we always give people the benefit of the doubt. So we've let people manage us or try. We've let people book for us or try. We've let people, make all these promises that they're going to set up a meeting with this person, or they know people at this label or Sony, blah, 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 blah. And I would say 99.9% of all of those fucking times, pretty much just 100%. I'm just gonna say 100%. They were all either A, bullshit, like B, just lying through their teeth, or C, a waste of time and could not offer anything. Especially the people, it's unfortunate because a couple people wanted to manage us, who had seen us, and they believed in us, and it was really sweet of them, and we appreciated their time. But it's you'll very quickly
What's
realize
involved is like
it's totally different. Wanting to do and doing are two different things.
Oh, yeah.
So as soon as they started doing it, we quickly realized that they were in over their head, and that they didn't know what they were doing, and that we could do a way better job.
Yeah.
And we were already doing a better job. So there would be no purpose to paying this person or having them on your team.
Exactly.
In fact, they would be slowing you down, And the other thing too is you have to really realize if you're going to have someone on your team that's going to be like if they're the one making first contact with other people, like labels or directors or producers or venues, whatever, you want to trust the shit out of that person, because they're going to be your first impression, the first impression of your band and representing you. So at the end of the day, I can't tell you, like I said, I can't tell you how many times we've met people who said they're going to do this, this, and this for us, and they always, it's always bullshit. They never come through, ever. It never happens. And it sucks because we've had some big promises by people who are actually in positions I ended up finding out, or that they could verify were true, and they just never follow through on those things, and it sucks. And we've even followed up and stuff, but it is what it is, man. If it's meant to be, it would have happened.
Well, you guys are a fucking exhilarating band to watch.
Thank you.
So it's like
we were.
to watch that. To watch that, I could see people being fired up. It's like, I want to be involved in that.
Yeah, we fired up a lot of people for sure.
So most people, I think they have good intentions, and they have they have their connections, or they do have connections, or they, people like to boast about what they can do. But it's like, if you have a band that's a certain level like you guys, and a certain passion and a certain quality, it's like you need somebody that's crazy dedicated as you guys are.
100%. You need
to match that.
Yeah,
like,
you need to impress the shit out of me.
You
be
can't
as
just
passionate.
have you can't just have like a half-ass person being like, "Oh, can you book these guys for me?" You got to have somebody that's a killer.
I'll take that even a step further. Just say you want to hire a pro.
Yeah.
That's great, but at the end of the day,
are they as hungry as you are?
Not just as hungry. Maybe they're hungry to do good work and stuff like that, but they may not feel about your project the way that you do. So like if you're hiring someone who's a pro, it's great, but they might not have your best interests in mind per se.
Yeah.
And if they're not passionate about your music, then they might not work quite extra hard. You know what I mean? Or be as gung ho about it. So at the end of the day, we always worked with people who were as excited about what we were doing as we were. So there were producers who we worked with that were like kind of nonchalant and just kind of like whatever about it, hum ho.
Yeah, they weren't
and
into it.
humming and hawing. And then, so like, we tried to gravitate towards people who fired us up.
Yeah.
And people who like came to us and be like, oh fuck, I want to do this with you guys, I want to record that. So I do like when people have that reaction, and then we like I said, we always give them a chance, and then hopefully it works out. For one of the producers we worked with, it did, you know what I mean? So he really got the best out of us. So it's just that it's hard to find good people who believe in your thing, your art, as much as you do. And honestly, it sucks because no one's ever going to care about it the way that you do.
No, not at all.
Typically, it's not going to happen. But finding someone who gets close to that is a blessing if you can. You know,
I think I have a high standard for myself, and it's not like quality standard, but it's just like a passion standard. You know.
Yeah.
And working with a few professional people already on all different levels, I haven't met anybody that wants to put it in as much as I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's all I'm looking for. Not on all levels, not on creative levels and all that stuff, but on an angle where I can't do it all.
Yeah.
Like, I book my own shows, I do most of my own shit, but it's just like somebody who's already in the league, who's been doing it for a while, and then just gets excited on a new artist or a new project or a new, like they get behind it 100%. And, they have the balls and the fucking, the attitude to do the job and to do what needs to be done. Right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So
it's tough finding the right people who have a combination of good work ethic but high standards and vision, because there's a lot of people who work really hard, but they work really stupid.
Yeah, so let's
You know what I'm
talk
saying?
about that because I think that goes in line exactly with contracts, because a lot of people, like, go back to the 99 percentile, talk shit. And they talk a lot of shit, and maybe they have credentials to help them back up their shit talking, and business cards, and I'm affiliated with this and this and this and that. It's very alluring if you've been working so hard of your craft, and then somebody shows some interest into your product or your catalog, and it's tempting to like give up a lot of your ownership for it, right? So I think the new thing now is like labels are a business. Like, labels aren't gonna just throw cash at you
Like they used to.
right?
Yeah.
And take a risk, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like they're looking for somebody who's already complete, has a catalog, a couple of albums and shit done, right? But it's misleading because it's like, oh, we'll help you get these avenues if you give up 50% of your publishing or your composition rights or creative control or whatever, or you sign with us and you're going to go through our recording studios, and then we own the masters and do what you do with it, right? Where did you guys find yourself in those avenues? And like, did you ever get stuck in a situation where I was like we already touched on it, like it's not the expectations didn't live up to what they were going to be, but did you guys ever get stuck in a contract or something like that where it was just like, fuck?
Never, because we never signed a contract that we liked.
That doesn't fuck you over, pretty much.
Yeah, and it's not even fuck us over. It's just like didn't make sense.
Yeah,
So-
why would you give up all that?
Yeah, there's just like, let me put it this way. There's a give and a take. A contract is signed so that both parties benefit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't sign a contract like if both parties are. Even the deal with the devil, he gets your soul, but you get what you want. You know what I'm saying?
You're looking for. Yeah.
So, you like a contract is supposed to be amicable on both sides and everything. So we got offered, to be signed by like a couple labels. It was honestly nothing big. I'm not going to talk it up. It's not like fucking like Sony
It's
or Atlantic
Canada.
or anything like that.
We're talking about Canada.
And
here.
honestly, it wasn't even a Canadian label.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
but I'm just like, this is the brunt we take as Canadian artists.
Sure.
There's not a lot to be offered most of the time.
Yeah. We got a lot of interest from a lot of European labels, like small European labels. So we got 2 label offers, one from a label I think in Italy, and then another one in like Indiana in the States. Both of them, while we were very flattered and that they wanted to support us and everything, we really appreciated it. What they wanted and what they could offer didn't match up and didn't make sense. They really just kind of wanted to represent us, and it was odd because what they could offer was they had no real channels of promoting, and they had no real funds like finances and money to put into us. And they don't have big.
Were they a publishing company or a label?
They were a label, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And they had no real channels, avenues of promotion and marketing and advertising, things like that. So it's not like they have like some big website with a lot of viewers or a YouTube channel or anything like that. But they had connections with printing physical discs and merchandise.
Oh, okay, so they had stock shit.
Things like that. So merchandise, printing discs, getting CDs made, maybe even potentially like maybe getting like websites and logos and things like that made. But none of that made any sense because we live in Toronto and this is our home base, and we operate out of here.
Toured Europe, that would make sense because then they could do it over there.
Yeah,
and you don't have to bring it with you.
But the thing is, like, if we, part of the contract with either of these labels, I think it might have just been one of them, but maybe it was both. But was they want the exclusive, like we have to have all of our merch and CDs printed by them, and it had to be printed by them. We had to purchase it, even though it was at a reduced cost, but then they had to ship it to us here, and it ended up costing the same amount, if not more, because
That's
of
ridiculous,
the shipping cost. So it just kind of doesn't make any sense. And then it's like, aside from that, there wasn't much else that they could do that we couldn't do. And it was just, the question was like, what can a label in Italy do for a hard rock band in Toronto? You know what I mean?
Unless you're touring
Unless we
Europe.
went to
Unless
Italy
you're
and
touring
toured there.
Europe, yeah.
And again, they weren't big labels. They were pretty small, and they didn't have any big bands or anything like that. So we were willing to give them a chance, but like it just didn't make sense. And then to take it furthermore, just in case anyone's saying like, oh, well, that doesn't sound that bad. I believe both of them, if not one, wanted creative control. So, and when I say creative control, I don't mean like they dictate and tell us what to do, and or anything like that. But they wanted the final say. So, for example, if we have a 5-song EP, we can choose the song we want as the single, but they have the ability to say no, we want this one instead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they don't like our logo design or whatever, anything they didn't like,
They
can
final
overrule
say
it
on,
and say, no, let's do it again. No, let's try it again. No, let's do something else.
Which could be a pain in the ass when you don't have the funds to keep doing it.
Well, yeah, and then the thing is that they like, why am I going to give creative control to someone who doesn't create anything?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It doesn't really make any sense.
Create headaches.
The only way that I'm going to allow that to happen is if you are helping me on the back end in ways that I can't help myself, like marketing, like promotion. And that's why a successful artist or band would sign with a big label, because someone, just say you have like,
they have the reach.
Yeah, just say you have like 50,000 fans and you're selling out venues in Toronto. And then, but you want to grow more, and you need to get on more channels, but you don't have the means to do that per se, like outside of like dropping cash on Facebook advertisements and Google ads and YouTube ads and things like that. Hoping as it catches and that people see it and eyeballs see it, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. So a label might come up to you like Sony or whatever, and they might say, "Hey, we love what you're doing, and we want creative control to have a say in what you do, but we can not only offer you advertising and promotion and marketing through all of these channels, Much Music, our website, these magazines, these YouTube reviewers, whatever." But we can also get you an opening slot on insert big artists tour here.
A bigger show.
You know what I mean? A bigger show for the whole tour, if not a couple of the shows. And you know what I mean?
See, that's alluring because it's
but that looks tantalizing, right? And that
does.
could be worth it because if they don't meddle too much and
Yeah.
they don't get their hands too far into it and they trust you, that could be a good relationship. You know what I mean?
Depends what they want. Like if they want your whole catalog, or they want an album, they want a single, or most of the time they want your whole catalog.
Yeah. Well, maybe I've heard of deals where they don't necessarily have your catalog, but you at the same time, I'm not gonna be naive and sit here and think that like they're just gonna sign you for nothing. You know what I mean? It's
No.
you have to scratch their back too.
You have
know
to
what I mean?
give up something.
Yeah.
But it's like me as a rapper, it's like my publishing is everything.
Yeah.
Like my lyrics are everything.
Yeah.
So they can best bend and twist them and use them for any which way. I think that's more creative control as well too. It's like, what do we use this song for?
Mm-hmm.
We put it in a video game. Do we put it in a trailer for a movie?
Yeah.
I think that's a creative control too, where you give up half of it, and that's like, what is the half of your control?
Sure.
Like what is even that breaks down to something different. It's like what type of half do you get of control?
Sure.
So I'm not willing to do that. They're offering me something. It's like like paying for publishing, where I'm already involved in a publishing company right now, and I'm going through the whole transition of the releasing the singles and the album.
Yeah. Yep.
They're just offering me the same thing, but on a year thing. They want me to pay in like $15,000
They want you to pay
for a year. Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna take 50% of my catalog, but they're
That's complete and utter bullshit.
But they're boasting that they have the Sony connection. So they're saying you give up half, but you'll be in films and all. This is the allure of like when I
sounds like complete bullshit.
It's bullshit right away. But I have other ideas of like making my own documentary where a connection like that might not be bad, where he knows somebody that I can.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be paying for.
No, not
a
at all
connection.
whatsoever.
And you should also there's.
So I'm gonna write a rebuttal email, but it's nice, I had a nice conversation with these guys, and I'm learning a lot, right? So it's like, I have what I want out of this whole thing I've been doing for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna give it up.
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna give up all the creative control I've had. I don't. Obviously, I have in desperate need of money for the last few. I am. That's like everybody else. But it's like, why would give it all up?
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. That sounds like a sketchy deal.
it is.
Like I don't think any.
They're
contracts
legit
with a
label
musician-
guys, but it's like.
Well, I don't know if they're asking you for $15,000. I don't know if they're legit label guys
There's a
because
lot
there
of
should be no
these deals.
contract that is requesting that amount of money from the artist. I don't think they should ever be asking the artist for
No,
money.
I don't think so
I
at
think
all.
they should be asking the artist maybe for a cut of certain things.
Yeah.
Like merchandise sales. or
That's
something
what
like
I'm
that.
looking for.
But not a front loaded lump sum.
But these are my
That's
first
crazy.
few deals, so it's like don't
Yeah.
look at anything first, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would be scared. I would be a little
Yeah.
suspicious of that deal.
Well, I laid everything out when I went there. I said,
Yeah.
"This is my catalog. I'm not giving up any publishing.
Sure.
This is what I have," and it never, because then they know where you stand,
Yeah.
and then if they know somebody else who's trying to pull the same thing, fast one on you, they might have already heard this from.
Yeah.
Like this guy's not green. He's
Yeah,
not so
yeah.
new, right? He knows
yeah.
he knows the business and
Sure.
stuff.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to convince a kid with a lot of money or like someone who has money and no brains.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I'm already in a publishing. I didn't sign anything. It's a deal. I gave them $2,000, and it's like a whole campaign,
Yeah,
4-month campaign.
Yeah.
So this is my last go. This is my last investment
Sure.
ever.
Yeah.
So whatever comes out of this, you know. But it's also kind of like I'm using it as leverage where I'm talking to this other one, and this guy is almost like schmoozing me in a way. Because at the end, because I didn't sign anything with them.
Yeah.
So maybe at the end of this term I have with them, they're going to offer me something.
Sure.
Same thing. But,
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
you know, it's...
I would just be wary. That's all.
Oh, I'm wary of everything.
And,
That's why I've never signed anything.
We're super wary now. Like I said, like pretty much 100% of the people who made us promises broke them all, and we're all full of shit.
Oh, yeah.
So with that said, we literally every single time I hear something that's a little too good to be true, I always am
It
skeptical.
always is usually.
My before I was super naive when I was young, and I was be like, oh, I would go to the guys and be like, guys, we fucking made it. Like this
Yeah.
guy's gonna do this and that. He just
Yeah.
said this, because I'm the kind of person who keeps my fucking word.
You're optimistic.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm optimistic and I'm passionate about things.
Yeah.
And when I say I'm going to do something, I goddamn fucking do it.
Yeah.
And I don't mince words. I don't fuck around. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to fucking do it. And so I was so naive to think that other people do most
that, yeah.
people should function the
Yeah,
same way and
no.
be as honest and
Not even
genuine.
close.
And they don't. And
No.
and it sucked, and it was a hard lesson for me to learn. And now it's unfortunate because I don't want to call myself a pessimist, but I'm way more realistic to the statistics of these people being full of shit. And it's led me to be extremely skeptical right off the bat, instinctively, but regarding any promises any people ever make up front. So I even
You
myself,
can cut through the bullshit now.
100%. And even
Yeah.
myself, when I talk to people and I'm approach a band about like helping them direct a video or edit a video or write some songs, I never make any promises I feel like I can't keep. I just be like, hey man, if you need some help or you want to work on something, blah blah blah, we can do this or we can do that. Well, if you need a video or whatever, you know, and I think it's healthier to just kind of be
honest.
humble and be honest.
Be honest.
Instead of
That's it.
saying things that you're like cashing.
Well,
What's the
people
word?
like-
What's the
well-
term? Cashing checks your mouth can't.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I think it's like
mouth
cashing
can't
checks
cash?
your mouth can't cash. I
Yeah,
don't
something
know.
like that.
Some newfie
Yeah.
thing probably. My stepmom has all these like sayings. She's the East Coaster, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's true, man. It's
Writing
like,
checks your mouth can't cash.
Exactly. There
There
we
you
go.
go.
We got it. At least you come out with a lot of sayings in this business.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely.
No, it's true, man, and it's like you should be skeptical, but you also should be, you know, like that possibility of whatever you think like that, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just going through the trials and tribulations, and the people that actually make it through or whatever your goals are the ones that go through with their word. You know what I mean? It's like. That's almost 80% of the shit for me is I work with the people that have come through with actually what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like I've had a lot of young rappers who want to do a lot of things with me, but it's like I've had one guy who waited 3 hours for, or like 2 times, and it's like I don't care how fucking talented you are or how much reach you have. It's like basic things like that fucking piss me off. And things happen, but it's like to have no communication, and it's just like having respect for the other person too, right? It's what their time too, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
like having that experience and going through all those things. Now you have that experience, right?
Yeah.
Where it's more like an instinctual thing, right? You can smell the bullshit right away, and your instincts from your past experiences will help you, you know, see through that.
It's
right?
funny because I know people even now that are like much older than me, like 40, 50 years old, that they're musicians, and even when they meet people, I see them being naive. You know, they meet people and think like, oh, this guy is from this label. He said he's gonna do this, this, and that. I'm like, guys, come on, man. I've heard it all. Relax.
It's horseshit.
Like,
yeah.
you know?
Well, the age isn't it really? It's just like how you take each experience, right?
Yeah.
What you take away from it. It's
Yeah, man.
Well, at the end of the day, you know, you did it, man. You still you gave everything, you give everything you have, and you're still driving for that. You still got, obviously you have a passion just to share what you're feeling and all your super creative side of listening to some of your new stuff. And that's what I really enjoy. That's the people I like working with, who just like the just no matter what, you're changing, and you're growing as an artist, adapting. And I, you know, it's like I did managing and producing for 10 years. I didn't really start in solo stuff till I was 30, right? But it's just like something that you want to do, and it drives you, and you just do it, right? No matter what.
Yeah, man. Well, I got a lot of stuff on the go. I'm just trying to figure things out after the nuclear bomb that is the end of the band, and playing drums in another band, the Reed Effect, and that's fun. But in order to feel fulfilled, I need to write. I need to create my own stuff, which I do. We all songwrite together in that band, and it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it, but I need more. I need multiple outlets. I just have this like fucking weirdness inside of me that sometimes I just like gotta get more out.
Yeah.
Or I don't feel. I feel like it's creating a cancerous tumor inside of me.
Yeah.
And I'm getting out all the negativity by. It's almost like I don't like writing. I was never a journal or a diary kind of person.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people who are, and I love the idea of it.
Yeah.
And I do like writing. I like so I'll post my thoughts on Facebook and stuff like that sometimes, and on social media. But I'm a deep thinker too. But the best way for me to express how I feel is through songs and music and stuff like that. So I typically do my best when I'm feeling like an extreme emotion, whether it's like I want to fucking kill myself, or I'm like really, really happy, or I'm really, really fucking pissed off.
Do you capture it at that time? Like, are you good at that? Because I'm a super fucking procrastinator when it comes to writing. Like, are you when you whipped up in that emotion, do you grab the pen and paper, and or you grab a recording device and you get at it? Or
always, I got a million recordings on my phone of voice memos and stuff like that.
So you get the idea, you get the
voice memos will save your life, man.
Yeah.
I honest to God, like the best advice I can give anyone who wants to like make songs and create ideas is like, there are no rules to how music is written, and I've written a song. Great songs from every direction, in every way, shape, and form. I wrote a song from lyrics first. I wrote a song from melody first. I wrote a song from a title one time. One time I just thought of a cool song title.
Oh, I do all the time.
And now I'm just like, fuck, now I got to create a whole story behind this song title, right? But you have a theme, right? Now you can elaborate on what the song title is. So yeah, sometimes it's just a feeling. Like sometimes I just sit there and I'm like, you try to think of a more complex feeling, like when you want to do something. I don't know, I'm trying to think of something spitballing off the top of my head, but like when you want to accomplish something, but you know that you're incapable of doing that, that can be a frustrating feeling. How do you put that into lyrics and words and music? You know what I mean? The music has to have tension. It has to be angry. It has to be like a little bit like, well, fuck, I want this thing, but I can't do it. You know what I mean? So just whatever it is. So to answer your question, for me, it comes in spurts. I did a podcast earlier with a friend of mine from the radio, and he asked the question about writing, and I told him it's like a signal, and your brain is an antenna, and when the signal is coming in, I do whatever I fucking can. I've learned that I need to do whatever I fucking can to like point my antenna as wherever I can in the right direction and try to find the signal as strong as I can get it, so that I can be a vessel for this information and like get it out in my own fucking Neanderthal way, by either writing it down physically or putting it in a voice memo, or hopefully being around instruments so I can get it out. But it comes in waves. Like there's literally been 6 months where I don't have a fucking creative bone in my body, and I just, nothing is coming to me, and I sit down and I just don't feel inspired, and then one day I just write 8 songs. Like, and I just like I wake up one morning and I have the day off, and everything I wanted to do that I was just like, I'm gonna go to the gym, then I'm gonna go do groceries, and I'm gonna clean my apartment, and I'm gonna do this. All of that gets thrown out the fucking window, and like a fucking mad scientist, I stay in a room with my piano or a guitar or my voice memo on my phone, and just fucking come up with ideas all day, and do as much as I can. And then my wife gets home and yells at me because I did nothing. But I told her, I'm like, I wrote 8 songs.
I did a lot of shit.
Yeah, so.
No, that happens to me a lot, like spurts, you know? Like a damn. Mostly with a song idea. Like I get a song idea off something, right? Like you said, a riff or something or a bass line or something. And it just builds up in my head, and it's almost like a volcano. And then when I can't take it anymore and I'm shaking and I have to get it down, then it flows out.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
I was gonna say same. I listen. My best inspiration, and again, this might be different for everybody, but I'm most inspired when I listen to new music. When I listen to music I've never heard, I'm always like, it's really tough because you like what you like, and as you get older, it's really easy to just keep listening, stick with the shit that you know and love. But I'm telling you, you will never really be like, you'll listen to it differently sometimes, and it might inspire you, but it will not inspire you the way like something new does. And when I say something new, I don't mean like you're just gonna fall in love with some new band, it's gonna be your new favorite band, or that you even love it as much as old music, or that you even like it at all. I've been inspired by songs I hate. There's songs that I don't necessarily like, but there's like one little part or moment in them that I'm like, that's fucking really cool. Yeah. I hate the rest of the song, but I like that
melody or
so
hook.
I try to listen to a lot of weird shit, like newer experimental, sometimes pop music. You know what I mean? Like some artists that are not that popular, but like they do some really cool stuff that makes me go, shit, I want a song like that. And then I'll write down. Sometimes I'll literally write down a song by an artist that is brand new that I've never heard of. I'll just do like a Spotify thing that lets me discover new artists, and then I'll write down the song and I'll literally write it in my phone. Listen to this. Write a song like that.
Well,
and
it's like
literally, I'll the goal will be to write my own version of that song.
Yeah. Well, it's like something that's your own that triggers you, right? The idea, and to have an open mind like that is great because you're not. Like you're listening to your favorite shit, you know what you sing along to, you know what to expect. Yeah. But when you're going down that avenue of new music, then you're totally open-minded. Yeah. And then you're like, "Fuck, I didn't expect that shit. That's cool. I like that about SoundCloud. Yeah. Where I kind of just let it go,
good, especially for free.
Yeah, I just let it go, and I just kind of like.
Yeah. I do a lot, and it's funny because I love rock. It's my favorite, but I like all music. I absolutely love all music, but like I always gravitate towards rock for some strange reason. And but I make a point of listening to different types of music because it brings out sides of me that rock doesn't, and that I didn't even know were there. So like I literally have the capacity to like listen to polka music, and I'm not saying I do, but I've listened to like a lot of classical music and things like that. But just as an example, I can listen if I force myself to listen to polka music for an hour, like go on a Spotify polka playlist. I guarantee you there would be 2 or 3 little things that I hear in some of those songs that make me go, shit, that would sound wicked in a pop song, or shit, that would work in a rock song. That beat. Like that, whatever, like this specific polka beat, or just like that effect on a guitar,
I know
would work with a cool bass line. You know what I mean? Fusing parts of songs and different genres of music into stuff is some of my favorite shit to do. Like I love, like I grew up with like absolutely loved Gypsy Kings and stuff like that. My dad was a big fan of Gypsy Kings when I was a kid. It was all I listened to in the car with him.
Big mix in there.
Yeah, and just like I love Latin and Spanish style rhythms. Yeah, like Cubo,
get your feet moving.
Afro-Cuban rhythms, Brazilian samba rhythms, jazz samba, bossa nova, stuff like that. And I love adding stuff like that to rock music.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
because it's
sick.
cool. It spices
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah.
Even hip hop music, and it's the same thing. Like
It's dope.
hip hop has done the same thing. Look at what reggaeton is. Reggaeton is like hip hop and kind of
Speed it up.
reggae mixed with like Latin fiesta beats.
It's like
you
the
know,
4-bar speeded up.
yeah, and it's just literally grimy hip hop
Doubled up,
over top of
doubled up. Doubled up. Right?
and
It's
that's
that
it,
hip
right?
music. It's the hip music. It's like the all Latinos are born with that hip shake music.
Yeah,
it's
but
all in there.
Yeah, it's I like the fusion of different genres.
Well,
so.
it bleeds. Well, I was just listening to your new stuff, and I've heard all your older stuff in that, and even like your solo stuff. It bleeds out. You can tell what you listen to, all the different stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's
and again, that's just one
experimental.
example of one side of me.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's I'm with a lot of my solo stuff. Like I didn't really put this in the last bullet stuff, but I'm super influenced by film composers.
Yeah,
Or just
I was
composers.
saying that like the beginning of it, the piano will remind me of like a score stuff. You know?
Yeah, and there's a lot of strings and stuff like that. So I love strings, and that's something we never put in Last Bullet because it just didn't fit or whatever. It's not something
Yeah.
we thought about. But I thought in my head, I fucking love strings, and I've
I did.
always wanted to record strings. And so I told myself, I'm not going to have any limits on any of the solo stuff I do at all. It's not going to be... I'm going to write it with the goal of just writing
Whatever
awesome
you-
music. Literally no limits of any kind whatsoever. And I want lots of emotion, lots of expression. I want any instrument that I could possibly find. I don't care if there's a bassoon, a fucking glockenspiel, a trombone, a tuba, a euphonium. I don't care if it fits and it works and it sounds beautiful. That's what I want. I want to create beautiful sounds.
I agree.
And it doesn't even have to be music. I just like beautiful
Whatever
sounds.
works, you know.
Beautiful
Whatever
sounds are
feels.
soothing to the ear. You know what I mean? Like
Whatever
it's- so-
feels like, whatever you feel like you're listening to it, and you're like, that's what that needs. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that. I've had horn. I had a specific. It was like I was sitting there with him. It was great. There was some great takes, but I was dead set on the mute sound with
Yeah.
it. So
the trombone with a mute. in
with
it.
a mute on.
Oh, I
it.
love that
I
sound.
was
I used to play it.
dead set
Yeah,
on that.
I played trombone
right?
all through high school for 4 or 5 years, and I
was
still play it. I
Dead
have
set
one.
on that. Like, and then he started convincing me that okay, the higher sound was good.
Yeah.
And then he went to the mute, and the mute was. I knew exactly what I
The
wanted.
mute sounds really cool.
You know
it sounds like an
exact-
old 1920s
It does.
jazz
Yeah.
trombone.
You
Yeah.
know what you want,
Yeah.
and you know what you want. And when you hear that right away, you're like, "There's no other compromise.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna sound good with that."
Yeah.
I'm dead set like that too. I'm like, then to me, especially hip hop, it's like once you get that primary instrument, and that is going to be the number one instrument
Mhm.
for your song,
Yeah.
the theme really builds around now.
Yeah, big
it
time.
really fills up now.
Yeah.
So
Big time. And I love hip hop. One thing that is dying in hip hop that really sucks is I love organic instruments in hip hop.
yeah,
Like I love my favorite hip hop songs, and my favorite type of hip hop and rap music is like beautiful guitar based
Yeah.
hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like just a simple beat, straightforward with a beautiful acoustic guitar.
well the thing
It sounds real nice.
I think
so.
what I'm excited for hip hop too is like, okay, a lot of the early '90s stuff was recorded awful,
Yeah,
like in terms of quality.
some of it.
But not like it sounds
I would say
great.
80s were worse.
No, I'm saying like the great albums, but quality of mixing and recording,
Yeah.
just because they didn't have the means, a lot of it was like not great.
Yeah.
But now the gear's all here, and it's a lot more affordable. I think what a lot of rap and hip hop is going through a phase with like learning how to use the gear and what to do with it. And now you're getting like that old sounding stuff with newer gear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's coming through a lot clearer.
Yeah,
It's
I hear you.
and so yeah, I like using all musicians. You know, you laid some drums down for me for the new one, which is just starting to unfold.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm taking everything I learned from the other two ones, and basically all my different styles of approaching making a song
Mhm.
are coming shaped into like the way I want to do it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like having a bass line and a beat, and then writing to it, and then finding that primary instrument.
Yeah.
And then rewriting the song
Yep.
to it. So now I think I got the format I want. But yeah, it's like you said, it's going through those trials and tribulations, and you might not necessarily know the experimentation you have until you leave a certain situation.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're focused so much on your band, that style, and then just because you were tied up with a lot of it, now you might have a lull where you're not sure what you're gonna do. But I think what's happening is it's you're going through it. So you're like, I think I see happening with you is like you're eventually gonna find that one new style that's gonna fit you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you're going through a big change right now.
Yeah,
So
definitely, and I'm definitely experimenting, and I'm trying to do the right thing, which I truly believe is keeping an open mind and trying a whole bunch of different things, and not having any limitations. Because I used to be, it worked for us, but when I was in Last Bullet, I had I don't want to say tunnel vision because it wasn't necessarily that, but I definitely was like, we needed like a 4 to the floor AC/DC style rock banger.
yeah.
Or we'd be like, you know what, we need a really upbeat, high tempo, dancey tune.
Yeah.
Or, you know, we need a sludgy, heavy, dark, low tempo, big, bad, heavy riff.
You knew.
You know what I mean?
You knew it.
So like, but it was all revolving around rock, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, honestly, like the way it's going, I told you I wrote like almost 18 songs or so.
That's great.
Some sound kind of like that kind of like poppy film score style music.
Yeah.
But then a lot of them sound like they're a little more like Latin and a little bit more experimental, and some are darker, some are happy, some are jazzy. Like it's kind of fucking all over the place. So I'm just I'm just trying it out, experimenting, and you know, if the album or the project that I end up putting together ends up sounding anything like what I'm making right now, it'll be very dynamic. It'll be all over the place, which I love. I love dynamic music. I hate when I put an album on by an artist and every fucking song sounds the same.
Yeah.
There's certain artists that I do love that they tend to sound like that, but you know,
Even then it gets boring.
it does get boring, and you gotta even if you're not going to budge on like how your guitar tones sound and stuff like that, at least mix up like the key signature and the tempo.
People play
and
it too safe.
yeah. So, you know, I love dynamic music, and that's why my favorite bands of all time are arguably the most dynamic bands ever. So for example, Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
They sound like 7 different bands.
Yeah.
From album to album.
Yeah.
Like one album sounds like 7 different bands.
Yeah.
They have death metal songs.
Yeah.
They have like bluegrassy like tunes. They have like California like beachy pop tunes. They've got they're just all over the place, man.
That keeps them probably
It's crazy.
sane and gives them longevity still.
And another band I love is Radiohead. Radiohead's the
Yeah.
same. You know what I mean? And even like I like System of a Down.
Yeah.
I don't know if you listen to any System
Oh,
of a Down.
hell
but,
yeah. Oh,
but
yeah.
probably my favorite metal band of all time, because like they'll go from like crazy heavy death metal to a pop chorus that's really light and uplifting.
Yeah.
And then in the bridge they'll play like 7/8 jazz. Like
Yeah.
they do weird shit, and I love that because it keeps you on your toes, and
Yeah.
it all sounds good. It's all well done and
Yeah.
tasteful, and you're just like, holy shit, this is like schizophrenic music.
Yeah.
It's like multiple personality disorder metal. So
Well, you need that. You need that different style, and man, I'm excited to hear what you're gonna bring out, man. It's
thanks, man.
gonna be
I'm
cool.
excited too. I'm hoping that I can get moving on it faster than I have been, and we'll see what happens. So
I know how
it's a
it
little
is.
scary, but
I know how it is to go from something you've had for a long time, and just I'll be on your own.
yeah, it's scary, man.
I did it at 30,
Yeah,
so it's definitely scary.
yeah,
Because you don't know what direction you're gonna take.
Yeah.
But you're doing it. Just keep doing it, and I'm excited
One
to
foot
hear what's
in
going
front
on.
of the other.
Yeah,
That's all I can
exactly.
do.
Thanks
Yeah.
for the podcast,
Cool.
brother.
Thanks, brother. I
It's
appreciate
awesome
it.
talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
What are we gonna hear going out? We're gonna hear.
You know what? We'll just play some Last Bullet and maybe a little bit of the Reed Effect through the show.
You got it.
Last Bullet I fronted and sang with and wrote songs for 10 years, and the Reed Effect I currently help write songs and play drums with. So yeah, we'll probably hear some of that.
And you did drums for me for the upcoming Focus album,
Yep.
which will be sometime after this podcast.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Yeah, I'm getting psyched. It's this is gonna be a good one. So episode number 7. Thanks for talking. We covered over an hour and a half. It's really good stories and good intake from you. You know, you've seen it all. You've been around the country. You know, full rock band doing it. And Bryan Fontez, solo artist now, trying stuff out. He's gonna have coming out with a new album soon. Any shows coming up with the Reed Effect at?
We don't have anything booked at the moment. We just kind of finished playing because we're gonna record an album.
Okay.
Probably get started this month.
So downtime.
Yeah. So we're gonna record an
Show-wise.
album, and then as soon as that's done, we're gonna start playing more, and then I can focus a little. Once this album is done with them, I'm gonna start focusing on my solo stuff a little bit more, and then get that cracking. But in the meantime, you know, for the future, people just go to my website, bryanfontez.com.
Yeah, we'll tag it all up on the bottom.
and
just go below this video and
you
check
can
it
listen
out.
to all of my previous music there, from any of the bands that I worked with and any of the projects that I did, and keep in touch. There's gonna be more. It just might take
Awesome.
a little bit of time. That's all.
You guys want to rock out? Here's Bryan Fontez and Last Bullet. Thanks for being a guest, buddy.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Good times.
Thanks.
Cheers.